Hi, what's going on everyone? And then in this video, we're going to be taking a look at HTML styles, which basically comprises of how to basically take care of the styling of a web page. And we're going to just basically learn how is it that we can actually do that using something like an inline CSS to do that. So we're going to basically include an attribute called a style, and then we can within that place begin to style our web page. We're going to see how we can change the background color of the whole web page, also change the text color of an element, and then we could take that further into taking a look at how to maybe choose the font family. We can also take a look at font alignment, font size, and quite a few things just like that. Okay, so we don't want to waste so much time, so let's get into that and then see how we can actually achieve that right now in this video.
All right, so we're starting off with a clean slate. So what I'm going to do right now is I want to save this file by going to file menu and save as, and I want to navigate to the what is it called, the desktop, which I think is already on the desktop, and we're on the right folder, HTML and CSS. So I want to call this styles or simply style.html. Let's make that plural, styles.html, and I want to go ahead and save that right there. Okay, so we have that right now. So we want to generate our HTML boilerplate, which I'm going to just say exclamation doc type, and we're going to just space and then say HTML like that, and then we can go down in here and then start off with all right, so we can just say HTML right there, and then we need to close that out immediately. So this is going to be HTML, and I want to close that out this way. So within this place, we need to throw in the head region. If we need the head region, we can just say something like head, and we can also close out the head right here, which we can just say head just like that, and we can throw in our title right here. So I want to tab this over. So this is going to be title. Let's make sure I type that correctly. So this is going to be title, and I'm going to just call this HTML. Let's call that styles, and let's go ahead and then close out that title right here. So this is going to be title, and have that closed out. So within this place or down here, we're going to throw in our body. Let's close out the body down here. So this is going to be body, and we can actually go ahead and then begin to spill out the body section of the application. However, before I do spill out anything in here right now, I want to just like give you the syntax of these HTML styles, and the syntax is actually very simple. So it's all about you dropping the tag name. So if I do something like the tag name right here, just like this, and we're going to just go ahead and pass in a property that is actually called we are going to just say style, and we'll set that to a certain value. Okay, so certain property this way. So this is going to just basically be a property here, and we can actually add a colon and then just say something like value, and where this is just the CSS property, and this is the value. Okay, so whatever you do here is what it's actually going to print out, but then you will need to include something like a property. Let's say, for instance, you're talking about background, and that means that we're actually going to start with a background as we move along. Okay, so if I say something like red right here, that's going to mean that the background of this web page is going to be a red background. Okay, so you can go ahead and then close it out this way. Okay, however, we're not going to need this. I'm going to take it away. That's just the syntax. You just have to have that copied down. And let's say we're starting off with a background right now. What I want to do first of all, if I save this page, I want to just basically open this up in my browser. And if I go to the desktop right now, I want to go to the desktop and I open up this file, this folder, and this is the file we're working on right now. I want to double click on that to see that actually opens up, but we don't have anything in the body. So for instance, let me say I'm going to have something like a H1 right now, which we can just basically add anything like here. We can just call this HTML styles tutorial, just like that. We can go ahead and then close out that H1 in here. And if we go back, if we save this and go back to our browser, refresh, we now have something to actually test with. And we can actually, let's say for instance, that the first thing I want to do right now is to test out the background color of this particular page. Okay, the whole body section, if you want to change the background of the whole body section, it's actually simple to do. All you need to do is to go to the tag called body, and remember the syntax I gave you just now. So we can just basically use this particular keyword or attribute. So this is attribute style, and we're going to go ahead and set that to be equal to this particular property, and the property in this case is going to be background. So this is going to be background color, and we can add a colon and then go ahead and set that. Let's say this is going to be navy as a background, and we can go ahead and then save that. And if we go back to the browser right now, refresh, you notice that we now have navy as the background of the web page. Pretty simple, right? That is it. So with that alone, that's just basically how to change the background of a web page or the whole body of a web page. And you can actually add any color you like right here. So if I see something like, let's say black, and then save, if I go back and refresh, notice that the background changes to black, but we're going to just take that back to navy. Okay, so this is just basically going to be navy. And I want to also add something like a paragraph down here, and we can just describe this as this is a tutorial on how to let's say on how to use HTML styles. So we're going to close out that p tag right there, just like that. So I just want to have that in there. So let's say, for instance, we are basically done with the changing the background of a web page. If we want to change the background of an element, remember we've done element, and from here to here is an element. Let's say we want to change the background of this. It's also possible, so we can just say something like style, and I'm going to just set that to be equal to whatever color we want. Let's say we want this to be set to a color that is going to be called a white, so we can just type white right here, terminate that, save, and if we go back and refresh, we should have the background of that particular okay, I think we basically changed the color. Sorry about that, I changed color, so this could have been background color, and that's actually beautiful because we're also going to work on how to change background color, the color of a text. Okay, so but here is what I basically wanted to do. I just wanted to change the background. So if we save that right now, I don't know if I saved that, look at it. So you see that you can actually change the background of a specific element. Okay, if you want to change the color of the text, you can also add that to that place. So if we go back right here, and we can just say something like color, and we can go ahead and say, let's say this is going to be something like red, terminate, save, and if we go back and refresh, should be able to have the text in here red. Okay, beautiful. All right, so with those few lines of code, we've been able to actually change the background of an element, a web page, and also a text. Okay, so we were also able to change the text color. That's what we did with this particular place right here. Okay, that's what we did in there. So let's use this opportunity to also change the color of this particular text because it does not actually match with the background right now. So I'm going to just do this, and we can go ahead and just say color, and I want to change that to white. So this is going to be white, and let's save this, and that paragraph should actually appear in white color right now. So that is it. So the next thing I want to take a look at right now is going to be that of the font family. A HTML fonts. So I want to work on HTML fonts right now, and the way that this is actually done is also similar to what we have just done. So let's say, for instance, we want to change the font family of this particular line right now, and we can actually do that. I think that by default this should be something like Arial black, something of that nature. This should be by default Arial, and if we want to change the font family of any of the elements or all of the elements as one, we can actually do that within this particular body, because everything that is inside of this place from here down to this particular place is actually embedded in that of the body section of the web application. But let's say we want to specifically change this particular one right here, the font family. We can do that. So it's actually very simple. All we need to just basically do is just say font family. So this is going to be font dash family. See that dash, a font dash family, and we can throw in our what is it called, colon right here, and we can go ahead and type whatever font family that we want. We do have quite a lot, but we're going to take a look at them in our CSS. Okay, but the first one I want to type right now, we have something like Georgia. Let's say Georgia like this. This is actually a font family. Okay, so if we save this, I want to terminate this line right now. I want to terminate here, save that. I want to notice that there will be a slight change in how this particular text actually appears. Okay, and font families, they normally just affect the appearance of our fonts in our web pages. Okay, so I'm gonna refresh, and I see that something changed. Okay, something happened to that particular field. We also have another one like that of the Verdana. So if we just change this to Verdana and save the web page, and if we refresh, you see that is a serious change in that. Okay, so we have quite a lot of font families that we can actually change. So let's try and change the font family to that of the paragraph right here. So if we go into the paragraph section, we can actually do that. We can just say font underscore a dash family, and we can go ahead and then maybe change this to something like Korea. So let's change that to Korea and save the web page. And if we go back, that should be able to affect this particular line, this paragraph. You see the way that the paragraph is actually appearing right now. I know that this is not actually appearing big enough, so that means that we can also use this opportunity to also work on the font sizes. Pretty cool. So let's increase the text size right there, and it's pretty simple. You can also do that here by doing something like font dash size. So if we do that right now, let's add a colon, and you can actually set this to, let's say this is going to be something like this is going to be let's say 30 pixels. So I'm going to set that to 30 pixels. You can basically also set this in percentage, guys. So I'm going to set that to 30 pixels, and let's check how big that is going to appear. You see that it appears bigger than it used to be. Okay, I think that by default the font size is always set to something like that, 16 pixels or 14 pixels if I got that right. Okay, but you can actually increase the size if you like. So I increased that to 30 pixels. If you want to make it something like 40, the bigger the number, the bolder the text is actually going to appear. See that kind of appears quite a lot bigger. Okay, so we can also set that in percentage. So I want to set that of the this particular line right now, the H1. I want to set this particular one in percentage, so we can just say font family, a font size, and we can go ahead and set that to maybe something like 400%. Terminate that line, and then if we refresh our web page, you see that the text actually appears bolder right now. Okay, so that's just how to also change the font size. And the next thing I want us to take a look at right now is going to be let's say we're going to take a look at text alignment. Okay, if you take a look at the page right now, everything that we have is actually starting from the left and then going towards the right. So this is basically by default, it's left alignment. All the text or the elements that we have on the web page are left aligned. Okay, so the alignment, the default alignment is left. We want to be able to have the ability to also place them maybe at the right and also at the center, and even keep them justified. So let's do that right now. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to do something to that of the header right now, or H1. So this is going to basically be text alignment. So to do that, we're just going to just use text dash align. Let's make sure that's actually dash align like this, and you can go ahead. Let's say I want to move this to the center of the web page. Let me scroll to the right a little bit. So this is going to be center, like that, to center, align that. You can save this, and if you check your browser right now, you notice that the text has been moved to the center of the web page. You can also do the same thing to that of the P tag right there. Okay, so I'm going to copy this, put that right here, and if we save and refresh, see that everything should appear at the center of the web page right now. See that? Pretty cool. So you can also move that to maybe left, not left because by default is actually left. But then if you want to actually, let's just say something like left to see how the title is going to, the heading one is actually going to move back to the left. You see that? But by default it's actually set to start at the left. So let me move that to maybe the right. We have not experienced that of the right hand side yet. Save this. If we go in here, you see that it moves to the left hand side. Okay, we also have another one that is actually called justify. So let's just say justify. So justify content to the center. I think this is basically going to also move it to the center. Okay, it moves to the left hand side, which I don't actually know the difference between that. Okay, that and that of the left hand side. Okay, so all right, so what I want to do is to just keep this at the center of the web page. So this is going to be center, and let's save that. And if we refresh this page, you notice that we are at the center of the web page right now. So pretty cool. That's how to basically set the text alignment, and I hope that we have actually done justice to this particular topic. So I mean, on this video we've been able to accomplish all that we set to actually accomplish under HTML styles. So we've been able to use the style attributes to actually work on the background color of our web page. We changed the background color. We also worked on the text, the HTML text color. We're able to change the color of the text, and we also worked on the text fonts, which means we're able to change the font families to whatever that we wanted. Okay, and you can do some more researches to actually find out more font families that we have, because I did not actually exhaust all of them, but it's not something that we need to actually waste so much time on. And after that, we worked on the text size. That's how to actually change how big the text actually appears on the screen. And after that, we also worked on the text alignment. That is the way that we moved all the text just right about within the screen. Okay, we have left alignment, we have center alignment, and we have right alignment. Okay, even justify. So that's just that.
I hope that you enjoyed that, and it's important to also let you know that when you begin to build something like a big application, a commercial application, you may not have to rely on writing the styles of your web page just within the HTML like we did in this video. You may have to include something like an external CSS to be able to do that. And the time might ever come where you don't even have to start writing the CSS like we are doing. We may be using something like Bootstrap. Okay, but for now it's actually very important that we learn how to do this from the scratch. We don't want to skip any step as we try to teach you guys how to actually create web application from the scratch. Okay, so that's just the reason why we did that. So if you like this video, I want you to just give this a thumbs up, and if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, or you're not following our page on Facebook, I think this might be the right time to try and make sure that you become a part of the family by subscribing or following the page. And so that's just that. I will see you in the next one, guys. Bye for now.